Hey everyone, you're watching a new episode of HomePlaceFlorida. My name is Feler. I'm Realtor here in Tampa Bay area, Florida. So the topic of today's episode is investing with no money down. All right, so there's a lot of myths going on around there. I heard a lot of articles and videos, people saying, oh, we tell you how to invest with no money down. Well, it's kind of yes and no, and we're gonna demystify this myth about what really is true and what is not. And before we begin, I just want to give you a little tour to physics. Maybe not exactly a tour, but what Albert Einstein once says, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another. Well, the same thing applies to money. Money cannot be created or destroyed. They just, as energy, they just flow from one form to another. So if somebody tells you that there's no money down and you can invest and you can buy a house with no money down, that's kind of, I would say, wait a second, let's demystify, let's look case by case, point by point, what's mean no money down, all right? And how it's gonna benefit you. Before we begin, I'll ask you to click subscribe to my channel, give me some like, and see you. All right, so the myth number one is to buy a property without money down. Well, here's the thing. It's been in the industry for a while that usually when you buy real estate, you have to give 20% down. It's not the case anymore. It's not true anymore because yes, it's recommended to give 20% down, but you don't have to. And the reason for this is because these days, mortgage companies and banks, they have lots of different programs specifically designed for people who cannot really put money down, or basically to ease purchasing property. Because let's be truthful, probably house or housing, basically real estate, is probably one of the most expensive things people buy through their lifetime. So it's not always easy for many people to buy. Here's the thing, this program these days, there's for instance like veteran association, right? There's veteran loans. It's a government backup loans for first-time buyers loans. It's where you can give really like 3 to 4% down payment and then buy property. But again, you still need to get money down, and depends on the price of the property. So here you go. First of all, you need about 3 to 5%, maybe 3-5% down to buy the property, to qualify for the loan. So that's number one. Second of all, let's say you really don't have money, but you really want to buy the house. There are other options. I looked at it, and a lot of people saying, for example, on the websites and videos, and they say, oh, you can buy with owner financing. What's owner financing mean? And let's look at this case. Owner financing means it's nothing more than a rent to buy. Okay, so let's say you selling a house, right? And I'll come to you and say, Mr. or Mrs. X, whatever it is, I'm interested to buy your house, but I have no money. And let's say you're such a good person that you really want to sell this house to me, and you decided that you want to sell, you're gonna sell it to me. So what do you do? Okay, first of all, we'll make a contract. And this contract will say that you will rent me the house, but instead of, let's say, if you would normally rent this property for $1,000 a month, you'll rent this property to me with $1,500 a month. What does it mean? $500 a month. That's the money that will go toward it, go to escrow, to the current property owner, and this money will be escrow it toward my down payment. So let's say I live there in the property for a few years, and okay, $500 a month, and for 12 months it's what, 55, well, it's $6,000, right? So $6,000 a month, a year, right? And $6,000 a year, you go into 3 years, it's 18,000. All right, so yeah, 18,000 may be enough to buy this specific property, or maybe not enough, who knows. But that's one of the options. But again, not every property owner is looking, because now property owner who sells this property to me, who sells this house to me, will have to look at it and say, okay, I don't sell this house right now, so I cannot really use this money right now. I have to sell this property later, within 3 years. And there is risk bearing in that, because what happens if in 3 years you don't buy the property? Yes, I can take by contract, I can take, and will usually happen, make the agreement, say by the contract, I can take this $18,000 as the owner of the property and leave it as compensation for, because you quit the contract, you broke the contract, you could not buy this property anymore, or you don't want to buy this property anymore. But in the same time, it's a time essence, and it's a stretch. It wouldn't be better than, I say, okay, you know what, I don't care, go get a loan. You jump through the hoops, go there, get the loan, bank transfer money to my account, we're closing the deal, shake hands, bye-bye, see you. So now I have money, I made, as the owner made this proper, money on the account, and now they can go move on with their life and reinvest or whatever do, and now you the owner of the property. And there is no risk bearing. Now, the only who is in the risk now is bank, but that's a different story. They risk if you default on the house, or if you cannot pay within a few years in the house. But banks knows about this. That's their business. That's what they do. They lend money to people, and they're bearing certain risk. All right, and that's why they check so hardly. All right, so that's another myth. Next myth about hard cash. And what hard cash is mean? Let's say we have a buyer who does not have good credit, or does not have enough money to down payment. So they can go and find an investor who will give them hard cash for their property, for the property to buy. All right. Obviously, well, first of all, hard cash investors and they're not banks, so the applying process may be a little bit easier, because it's not a corporate application, it's not a bank. It will be easy to go through that. But problem with this, that first of all, I guarantee you they're going to charge you more interest rate. Second of all, technically they putting lien on the property, and if you cannot pay, they'll take this. They will not even go through the negotiation process or anything. They if in a couple of years something happens, it's not the bank, they'll take hard way. All right, so while it's it's not a myth, and it's, again, this is how, that's why I begin this episode with a little excursus to what Albert Einstein said about the energy and what applies to money. That's not something that you want to do, or maybe it's not your first choice, because in reality, yes, you don't have money, somebody give it you money, but you paying this, and you bearing additional risk, and somebody else bearing additional risk. So is it really no down payment purchase? I don't think so. You just using a little bit more creative way to do this. Saying it's impossible, people don't do this. Yes, people do this, but be very careful before you're doing this, because there's some consequences could be about this. Another way to make a purchase with no down payment, it's microloans or equity lines. But again, what is a microloan? Microloan, you still need to make, you don't have money, but microloans usually, it has to be, there could be either secure loan or unsecured loan. And that's a different story. That's where you go to bank and you're getting this microloan. And they probably will make sure that they have some kind of collateral on that. So either they'll take money directly from an account or something, but they'll make sure that they'll get their money, all right? There is no magic in this world, all right? So people don't believe in magic. Say, hey, I tell you a story how I become a millionaire, start investing without money. Yes and no, all right? Another thing is equity loans. Equity loans, that's probably the most viable way to do. But again, this is not free money. What does equity mean? And I'm sure many of you already know about this, but let's say if you don't, I'll explain. Equity, that's when you own a property. Let's say you live in a house, and this house, you purchased it 10 years ago, and this house raised the price. So you go into bank and ask them to evaluate your property. Your property gets evaluated, and this property now has additional value. So bank can lend you, it's equity value. So bank can lend you this money. All right, when bank lend you this money, it doesn't mean that it's just a free money. You can take and make down payment for your investment property, buy a condo, buy a small house, fix it, repair it, sell it, rent it, whatever you want to do. But that's still a loan against, additional loan against your current property where you live. So if you fail to pay, bank will sell your house and get this money back. So again, is it free or not? I don't know. That's up to you to decide, but this is the way to invest, all right? PMI, what is a PMI? PMI, that's the insurance that you will pay if you pay less than 20%, if you come with the less than 20% down on the mortgage. Every mortgage company will charge you PMI insurance. And PMI insurance, it's something that may stick to the rest of your loan, right? Or can be canceled after you reach 20% equity on the property, but that's not that easy. And I believe in the last few years that situation been changed. So now if you buy a property with less than 20% down, you will stick with PMI. PMI is insurance. The bank, they're not insuring you, they're insuring their investment. So if bank gives you money, they say, okay, if just in case you stop paying, that PMI will reimburse them. But that doesn't mean the bank will not go against you. Or another thing, PMI may cost you, let's say, PMI calculated based on certain things, but it may cost you another $200 a month for the rest of your mortgage. Do you think it's a good deal? I don't know. You decided, but that's what it is. And the last thing I want to mention, it's a closing cost, all right? So again, let's say you're buying a property which costs $100,000. That could be up to 10% of closing cost buried, because that closing cost does include real estate fees, that can include certain mortgage closing, All right, and another thing I want to bring up, it's a mortgage closing cost, or basically closing cost to purchase a property. All right, so it's a thing that people sometimes don't realize. They buy a property and they think, oh, okay, I'll come up. Now I borrowed this from this friend, from relative, and this and that. I came up with a down payment and I'll buy this property. Not so quickly, because there is a closing cost involved. And closing cost could go up to 10% of the purchase price. So make sure that this is calculated when you say that you're buying with no down payment. It's not such thing, all right? So I'll continue this series. We'll talk more about different options and stuff, what to do, how invest to real estate with no money down. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you'll receive a notification for new videos. Thank you so much. You're watching Home Place Florida. My name is Feler. See you next time.